Hey everybody, welcome back to Vegas Tips and Tricks for Saturday, November 2nd, 2019. Happy to be back with you. And I'm wearing another one of these crazy Vegas shirts that people have been kind enough to send me. This one's the Heidi's a Blank shirt from Hog and 2 Cent. If you're not subscribed to their channel, you should be. They're kind enough to put a whole bunch of us channels on the back, and you can't really see that anyway, so yeah, maybe I'll show you a picture. Anyway, I want to thank them for that shirt and for, hey, this is the first piece of merchandise with my name on it, so it's pretty cool. Anyway, they're really fast approaching 1,000 subscribers, so follow them and get them there. Speaking of which, we're at 933 subscribers this week. I'm really itching to get that last 67 subs, so if you're watching this video and enjoying it, please hit that sub button. If you're not enjoying it, please hit the sub button too. It helps a lot. And tell your family and friends who might be interested in Vegas. Had a very interesting week, or very boring week, or at least part of it, as I was called to be a part of the American judicial process, which resulted in a long day in a courtroom. Fortunately, my highly opinionated nature allowed me to get out of the jury duty, but I did get a close look at the inner workings of said system, and if you think large private institutions such as the ones you encounter in Las Vegas or in your job are inefficient and irritating, just spend some time with a large public institution. That's my political spiel for the day. But during that process, we had a brief 30-minute orientation which talked about a few of the basic things we needed to know before we started the selection process. And it got me to thinking that that's what we need for Las Vegas, is Las Vegas orientation, particularly for those of you who may never have been. So I am going to, as quickly as possible, run through what I think are the absolute essential tips and tricks for a first-time visitor. First of all, wherever you're coming from, if you're taking a plane at least, you will arrive at Las Vegas McCarran Airport. You will either arrive at Terminal 1, which is where most of the domestic flights arrive and depart, or at Terminal 3, where most, I think all of the international flights, some charters and some domestic flights will also arrive at Terminal 3. You will, regardless of where you arrive, want to make your way to the baggage claim area of that terminal, and that's even if you do not have any bags to retrieve, because this is where you will access your transportation options. Now, you have a number of different options in terms of transportation. There's buses and cabs and rideshare, etc. Most of them are going to be right in that baggage claim area. You'll see like a sign on the door, taxis or airport shuttles. I don't recommend the airport shuttles. They're frequently packaged with various vacation deals where it's like airport transportation. They're not that cheap, and you can wait like 30 minutes just for the thing to get loaded, and then if you're unlucky, you might be the last person to jump off the shuttle. So particularly if there's more than one of you, I wouldn't do that. Just go for the Uber or Lyft is my choice. Now that's not going to be located right in the baggage claim area. In both instances, you're going to have to walk over to the parking garage. The exact location varies depending on the terminal. Just follow the signs, follow the people that are headed in that direction. When you get in your conveyance, particularly if it is a cab or Uber, if you're staying somewhere on the South or Center Strip and the driver starts heading towards a tunnel and getting on the freeway, they're probably taking the long way. And that's probably going to cost you more money than it would be if they took a short route. If you want to sound sophisticated, make sure that A, you do not tell them it is your first time in Las Vegas, and B, please ask them to use the surface streets. If you're staying downtown or at the far north end of the Strip, it's probably a little bit of, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I wouldn't worry too much about it. You should be dropped off somewhere in the neighborhood of your hotel's registration area. If you arrive during the daytime, you may find Las Vegas a bit odd and dreary. If you arrive at night, it's going to look really cool, like Times Square on steroids. Regardless of when you arrive, and to be honest, you might want to choose your arrival wisely, because if you hit the hotel registration area on a Friday evening, it's probably going to be really busy. If you're checking out on Sunday morning, it's probably going to be, or Monday morning, it's probably going to be really busy. That's why I always say, hey, fly out on a Tuesday or Wednesday, come back on a Saturday. Things are going to be a lot less crowded, both at the airport and at hotel registration. If you get to hotel registration, and you might possibly from previous gaming experience, perhaps you have a standing in that particular hotel's players club, you might have a separate line or even a separate room in which to check in. If that's available, great. Some hotels also are experimenting with self-check-in kiosks. If you can use that, that also will probably get you to your room more quickly. If not, and if the lines are very, very long, I would probably recommend simply checking your bags, giving the nice the bellman a couple of bucks, and enjoying some time in Vegas instead of enjoying it standing in line. Just a bit like enjoying the jury selection process. Obviously, if you check in using one of the kiosks, you're not going to be able to request any sort of high floor or great view or upgrades. And again, then you'd have to go through the main registration desks. Some hotels are really, really bad about getting people checked in, Flamingo. Some hotels are really, really good about getting people checked in if there's a line win. But I won't mention any particular names. So, when you get to your room, you may discover that you have to walk all the way through a busy casino to even find your elevator. If they tell you how to get to your elevator and they draw you a map, pay attention because that probably means it's easy to get lost. If you get lost, you can always ask one of the employees of the hotel. The hotel will probably not have a 13th floor. It will probably not have floors 40 through 49 because people are oddly superstitious. So if you're on the 14th floor, you're really on the 13th floor, although probably not because there's a whole bunch of floors that just get skipped for no apparent reason. Most of the hotels do not have a security process where you're required to show your keys. I'd say it's no more than 50-50 about places that do, but remember that if your hotel does, that you should always have your keys with you at all times. When you get to your floor, you may discover that you have a very, very long walk. These are huge hotels. If you're down at the end of the hallway, it's a good hike. A couple of trips around there, you got a mile in. So keep that in mind, particularly if you're dragging a lot of luggage around and maybe you're not as mobile as you used to be. It might be worth just paying someone to bring it up. Although it's probably better to be a little ways away from the elevator, the ice machine, and all of those noise-making apparatuses. When you get to the room, you may be shocked and dismayed, particularly if you're used to traveling and stopping at nice little motels or even staying in sort of business hotels for your job. You might expect that you're going to have a nice little microwave, maybe a fridge, a coffee maker right in the room. You probably won't. You might have a fridge. Better than 50-50 chance that that fridge is a mini fridge that has all kinds of items in it. Don't take the items out unless you want to buy them, because typically they work on some sort of a weighted system. Don't try to put your own stuff in. If you have medical reasons for needing a refrigerator, you might want to request that during the reservation process, or if you get to the room and you discover you do not have a fridge, call down, and typically hotels will accommodate you. If you actually want to rent a fridge, it's kind of expensive. Get a lot of ice and some coolers instead. Hotels don't really want you in the room watching television or eating or drinking. They want you to spend money downstairs. So keep that in mind. If you're in the room, please lock the door. Please use the latch. Again, security can be a little lax, and I'm sure there's people who have walked up and down hallways trying to barge their way into rooms. So just be careful, be safe. Speaking of safe, your hotel room should have one. It may not be immediately visible to you. Sometimes it can even be in the bathroom. If you don't see it, check inside the closet on the wall. Check inside the drawers next to the bed, or check inside the cabinet under the television. It will typically be in one of those places. Use it. If you're not taking your valuables with you, lock them up. Do not use the pin number 1234 or preferably 1111 or 2222 because everyone can figure those out. Be smart. Don't carry a lot of cash around with you. Don't carry a lot of stuff around with you. Don't take incredibly valuable things to Las Vegas in the first place. So you're in your room. You got checked in. You may notice that if you check your credit card statement or your debit card statement, maybe not a great idea, that the hotel has held a significant amount of dollars above and beyond the cost of your room. In fact, even if you prepaid for your room, they are going to hold a certain amount on your credit card. It could be as little as $50 or $100. It could be hundreds and hundreds of dollars if you're staying in a nice hotel on an extended stay. If that's the case, please take advantage of it. You can charge most things in the hotel to your room, not gaming. But if you go out and eat at the hotel, charge it to your room. If you go buy something significant in the gift shop, charge it to your room. If you go out to one of the nice bars and run a tab, charge it to your room. At the end of the trip, if you do a significant amount of gambling, you can check with a host and possibly have those charges removed. If you pay for them with cash, they will know nothing about it. Anything you do buy in the hotel, it's a good idea to use your Players Club card. If you don't have one, you need to get one before you start playing and buying things. Because again, that's going to contribute to your ability to get, value back from your gambling and your hotel spend. Given the fact that you will not want to spend the entirety of your trip inside your hotel, even if it's a very nice hotel, we now have to talk about getting around up and down the strip. I'm ignoring downtown for right now because everything downtown is pretty much within walking distance. Everything on the strip, when you look, may appear to be within walking distance, but trust me, it's not. Well, it is, but only if you have plenty of time. So if you are planning on walking up and down the strips, allow a lot of time. Also, be sure to wear nice, comfortable shoes. Las Vegas is not the place to break in your new pumps or your new boots. The most comfortable, shoddy little pair of shoes that you've got is what you want to wear. Trust me, your feet will thank me, and you'll thank me the next morning when you don't wake up with massive blisters. Yes, most of Las Vegas and the Strip is walkable, but you're probably going to want to use alternate means of transportation. Of course, you can take a cab, which is expensive. You can take an Uber or a Lyft, which is somewhat less expensive. There are other options. You can take the bus, and the bus is very cheap. It's like $8 for a 24-hour pass, but there's a reason it's cheap. It's also slow and somewhat uncomfortable. Okay? If you can deal with that, you can get around very inexpensively. Another option is on the far east side of the Strip is the monorail. The monorail is not free. It's relatively pricey, but if you use it several times, it can be a good deal for you. Keep in mind, however, that the monorail is set back several blocks from the Strip. So, particularly if you're staying at one of the South Strip properties, it's a bit of a hike just to reach it. It's a good choice if you're staying down at the south end of the Strip and you want to get all the way to the north end of the Strip. It's a good choice if you're staying at the SLS or SLS, it's Sahara now, or the Westgate, because the entrances are pretty close to the hotel and it's a pretty good distance to most of the other properties. It may not be such a good deal if you just want to go from, say, Harrah's or Flamingo to Bally's. I think I'd just walk, guys. It'll be quicker. It's also a good choice, for example, if you happen to be attending a convention, because there's a stop right at the convention center. There are also trams / monorail / whatever you want to call them on the other side of the Strip. They are free. They are of varying value. If you're staying way down at the south end of the Strip, Mandalay Bay, Luxor, Excalibur, there is a tram that runs there. It's fairly convenient. It's fairly close to the casino proper. It does get a bit crowded from time to time, but it's a good way, particularly if you want to go from Mandalay Bay to check out the rest of the Strip. You can cut out the middleman and at least get all the way to Luxor. The little mini train tram, which runs between Mirage and Treasure Island, if you're planning to get between those two properties, it's a good idea because that's also one of those walks that's much longer than it appears to be. I'm not as big a fan as the tram that runs from the backside of Bellagio to the backside of Park MGM, unless you just happen to want to get from one of those places to the other. Otherwise, it's a bit of a hike, and in most cases, you're probably just better off walking it. In any case, this piece is getting a little bit long today, so I'm going to go ahead and promise you a part 2 of Vegas orientation. I hope the information I've provided you here today is valuable. If you have some tips and tricks of your own for a first-time Vegas visitor, please leave them in the comments below. And once again, I do want to thank you for taking a small part of your weekend to spend it with me. Hope the information that we provided today has been helpful. Hope that you have a great and lucky week, and we will see you soon.